Hi, I'm JC Pohl from Teen Truth. Welcome to part 2 of our web series on building campus relationships from the inside out. In this web series, we're looking at the key relational needs that our staff members have. I have had the opportunity to train staff across this country, working in schools that are small with staffs of 15 or 20, all the way to schools that have huge staffs of 150 to 200. And during our trainings, we look at the core relational needs that we all have. There's actually 10 relational needs that we all have. But as I mentioned in part 1 of this web series, there are 4 relational needs that continue to pop up as the top needs for our staff members. You might remember these slides from part 1. We saw support, respect, and appreciation at the top of the list. We continue to see support, respect, encouragement, appreciation. Support, respect, encouragement, appreciation. You saw these slides last time. You saw over 100 people in this staff meeting said support was one of their top needs. 96 of the people said respect, 72 said encouragement, and 65 said appreciation. So in part 1, we looked at support and we looked at appreciation. In section 2, we're going to look at encouragement and respect. So what is respect, right? We all want respect. We remember growing up that comedian Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect, right? Respect is something that has to be earned, but it's something that we all want and that we crave. So let's look at what respect truly is. I've found working with educators that a lot of times our staff members are living in a world of disrespect. Sometimes they work with, students that are disrespectful. The parents are sometimes disrespectful. Some of the schools I go to, the administrators and other staff members are disrespectful. And so it's really hard to do well at your job and be a good teacher if you're feeling disrespected. So what is respect? Respect is valuing another person highly, treating one another as important, all right? And honoring another with our words and actions. That is something that we all struggle with from time to time. And I think the thing that's really unique about educators, I'll never forget, I was in Oregon, John Day, Oregon, way out in the middle of nowhere. It was awesome. I flew into Boise and I must have drove 5 or 6 hours into the middle, just beautiful part of Oregon. But I'll never forget one of the teachers in that training. She was a younger teacher, and we were talking about respect. And she felt sometimes on campus that she didn't gain the respect from her peers that she deserved. And one of the things that she said in the training was hey, I know I'm a younger teacher, but I went to college. I got a master's degree, right? I went through my student teaching. I would appreciate a little bit of respect that I know what I'm doing. Maybe in part 1, maybe sometimes she'll need some support, right? Maybe sometimes she'll need some encouragement. That's the need we're going to get to next. But in general, she would like some respect because she believed, and I think she was very honest about it, she believes she put in the time, she put in the work, and she doesn't deserve to be disrespected. Maybe she doesn't know as much as the teacher that's been teaching for 20 years, but she definitely doesn't deserve to be disrespected. What is the opposite of respect? Well, that's an easy one, right? Disrespect. Disrespect is failing to treat another person as valuable, right? Failing to go out of our way to recognize who they are and show them that respect. Every teacher wants respect. The problem is, this is what teaching usually looks like, right? Sorry, it gets cut off a little bit here by the screen, but this is how you kind of imagine yourself as a teacher. And then we got this nice Jurassic Park picture here. This is how it feels to be a teacher. Everyone's coming at you from all different directions, right? So if we can show that respect, we can hopefully remember those graphs we saw, hopefully we can start changing those graphs a little bit to bring that respect level, bring the respect level up, right? And the disrespect level down. And what I found in my trainings and what people talk about after the training or even in the training is that their job performance, their motivation, their energy, a lot of things would change in their life if they had these needs met, if they felt respected. Maybe instead of feeling like Jurassic World, it'd feel a little bit more like teaching, which we all got in education because we love students and we all want to be there, right? We want to be there. So how do we cultivate a culture of respect on campus? Well, there's 3 things I think we can do. The first is be curious about your team member's background, all right? We're in a time now that's very challenging, but with things like social media, teachers that have been around for 20 or 30 years, teachers that have been around for 5 or 6 years, teachers that just graduated from grad school, whatever it might be, they all might be bringing different valuable skills and knowledge from their background. For example, this is totally stereotyping, but maybe the younger teachers on your campus might understand a little bit more about social media, about web conferencing and video conferencing, about the power of technology, where someone like my dad, who was an older teacher, he taught for 38 years, I'm sure there was a time where as an older gentleman, he felt technology kind of moved past him. So, being curious about what he thinks and how we could use the technology differently and kind of engaging teachers in that conversation, I think is really important thing for us to do to gain respect. The other thing I think is empower them to make decisions. We need to empower our staff to make decisions. You are there as an educational leader to coach. You are there to help, encourage, support. But at the end of the day, we've got to let them go a little bit. I find that in my counseling as well with teenagers. Like I always tell parents, in kindergarten and second, third, fourth grade, you were there to parent, right? You were there to kind of like parent and drive them down the tracks, okay? Well, in middle school and high school, everything's changing. They're moving away from the family and the household towards the school and their peer group, and now you need to be more of a consultant. You need to empower your child to make decisions. You need to negotiate with them and consult with them and help them work through these things. But the parents that drive down on their kids, as we all know, those are the kids that rebel. Those are the kids that get depressed or have these really high expectations that they feel they can never live up to, and they have other mental health issues that kind of come out of that. So what are you doing to kind of empower your staff and your team to make decisions on their own? And then also, I encourage you to set visual reminders, whatever that might look like. Either it's for yourself or to set things in your school to just remind people about the importance of respect. Those mnemonic devices, whatever they might be, things that you can share out on social media, signs that you can put up on the walls, the word respect visually and out there for people to see. Like, here at Austin High School, we show respect. Here at Colony Middle School, we show respect. Respect, hashtag it, whatever it takes to kind of just build that momentum. Now, the other need that teachers have a lot, and it's the fourth need we're going to cover, and the final need in this series is encouragement. We all need encouragement from time to time. Life is hard. Teaching is hard. We're in challenging times right now. So sometimes we just need that cheerleader, right? And that's you, that's your staff, that's your kids. What can they do to encourage? So what is encouragement? That's urging others to persist and persevere in their efforts. That's cheering others towards their goal. That's instilling hope, right? Being that cheerleader. One fun story about me that I always tell in the training is I grew up in an Italian household. And I know it dates me a little bit, but if you've ever seen the show Everybody Loves Raymond, you pretty much know exactly what my mom is like, just like his mom. There is nothing in the world that she thinks I can't do. And as a result, I've always responded really well to encouragement. She's always been really encouraging. And as a young boy, playing sports, baseball and football, I was always really coachable. My coaches could always encourage me and inspire me. I mean, in football, like we literally had cheerleaders that would cheer us on. And one thing I found when I got married to my wife, Callie, which is just kind of interesting to share with you here on video, is she's not very encouraging. She's just not. She's a wonderful person. I love her very much, but it's just not kind of like what she brings to the world. She brings a ton to the world, but just not really meeting that need of encouragement. And this became a little bit of a tension point in our marriage, earlier in our marriage, I should say. And it wasn't until I started teaching this class on relational needs that I had the vocabulary. And I want to pause there on that word for just a second. Okay, that's what we're talking about here in this web series. The vocabulary to express my need to Callie. And I came home from teaching that class that day and I said, Callie, you know what I think it is? I just need some encouragement. And I was able to express my need directly to her. And now, she goes out of her way to meet that need. She knows how hard it is for me to work with Teen Truth, how much I love being on the road working with students and staff members, but how hard it is to book schools, right? I'm always calling on principals. I'm calling on counselors. One thing about you guys is you're never in your office, right? It's hard to book a school. It's hard to reach students. And so every now and then, I just need that encouragement to keep going and keep pushing forward. And now I can express that need. And for Callie, like she's taken this class as well, and she can express her needs to me. When I go away on a 3 3 or 4 day teen truth trip, I know that she's going to need support. I know that she's going to need appreciation. I know she's going to need a little time off from our boys, right? We have 2 crazy young boys. So, encouragement is just something I need. It's something you need. It's something all your staff members need. Here is a great example of what it looks like to truly encourage someone.
You okay, babe?
I'm fine.
With a Subaru, you can always find a way.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
I love that ad, right? It makes you want to buy a Subaru really bad, but that's what it takes. Being there, encouraging someone, rooting them on every step along the way. You can do that for your staff, they can do it for you, and we can all do it for our students. It's just a top need that we all have, right? So what's the opposite of encouragement? Well, that's another easy one. Discouragement. That is losing confidence or enthusiasm around the people in our lives. If people feel discouraged, if they feel that we don't care, if they feel that we're not rooting them on, then it is really hard for them to gain that energy and that momentum they need in their life to do a good job in life, at home, at work with their students. And so staff members need encouragement. We don't want them to feel discouraged. All right, so how do we create a culture of encouragement on campus? Well, the first thing that I think we can do is create a team of cheerleaders. I told that story earlier about my mom. I'm just wondering, can you create a team of staff members that are going out of their way to cheer staff members on? Maybe they're doing little events. Maybe it's just like 4 or 5 people you kind of pull onto a little cheerleading council with you as a principal or educational leader, and say, hey, the 4 or 5 of you, this is what I need out of you. Every 2 to 3 weeks, I want you to do something encouraging for our staff, whatever that might be. Here's your budget, here's your time, do it at lunch, do it after school, do it before school, whatever it is. Every 2 to 3 weeks, I want you to come up with something encouraging for our staff. That's your job, do it well, and I'll take you to lunch at the end of the semester or whatever, right? Let's build a team of cheerleaders. The other thing I think is just sharing positive quotes and memes. We're in a time right now where social media, technology, just all the web conferencing, everything that we have at our fingertips now allows us to share information. And I think as an educational leader, if you can go out of your way to make those connections on social media, via email, whatever it might be, sharing those quotes, sharing those memes, sharing that messaging that you are believing in people and you're wanting them to do well, that will translate to what they think of you and the character that you have, and they will feel more encouraged when they're working with you and when they're on campus with you and when they're doing the job that you're asking them to do. The last thing that I was thinking is that we can about directing encouragement to a specific person. We got to go out of our way. That's the thing about this relational needs model. And that's the hardest thing to convince people in when I'm doing marriage counseling. This is the same model I use with them. We talk about these 10 needs. And one of the hardest things to convince them is that this is a two-way street. Like I said with Callie, if I could express my need to her, express my need, and she is able to meet that need, well, that creates some different momentum in our relationship, which then inspires me to meet her needs, right? She's encouraging me to go on the road with Team Truth, something I love to do. So I want to come home and do something that she loves to do and support her, right? So it's a two-way street. So if you can go out of your way to kind of meet that need of encouragement, like we saw on the graph earlier, this is a top need that your staff has. As an educational leader, I just can't tell you how important I think this is. Offering words of encouragement is just so important. And why is this all important? Why is this web series so important? Well, this is what we're building to, all right? So I just want to spend a few more minutes with you before I let you go. This is the model of what's playing out on your campus right now. With your students, your staff, it's playing out at home with your loved ones, okay? If there is a need that goes unmet, we have painful outcomes. If that need is met, we have positive outcomes. So let me just walk this through with you real quick, all right? So let's say the relational need is respect. We talked about respect earlier in the series. Let's say it's that young teacher that I mentioned up in Oregon that felt disrespected, all right? So let's say the need goes unmet. She does not feel respected on campus. That leads her to faulty thinking, all right? I don't like my school. These teachers don't like me. I don't know why I'm teaching here. I shouldn't even have gone to college to get my master's degree. Like, this was a complete waste of time, which leads to negative feelings. I'm not feeling good about myself. I'm feeling sad. Maybe I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling dejected, which leads to unhealthy behaviors. I'm not going to maybe do that extra prep period to get ready for my class. Who cares? I'm not going to engage with my family or friends on social media because who cares? Maybe I'm going to sleep in instead of get up and go to the gym. Maybe instead of go for a walk, I'm going to go home and eat some food that I shouldn't eat, or drink more wine than I should drink, right? Which leads to painful outcomes. She's not a good teacher. Maybe she burns out as a teacher. Maybe even she gets fired because she just never had that need met and never felt like she could be engaged on campus. Now, let's switch the equation. Let's say that need is met. Someone like you or someone on your staff goes out of your way to meet her need. They tell her how much respect they have for her. They ask her, what college did you go to? What did you learn in your master's program? I would love to learn because, I took my master's program 20 years ago. What was different? I'd love to talk to you over coffee about that. All right. That leads her to healthy thinking. People care about me on this campus. People at this school care about each other. I like being at this school. You know what? Teaching is hard, but I really do enjoy it. I'm glad I went to college. Healthy thoughts, right? Which leads to positive feelings. I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling good, I'm excited, I have that energy to do that extra prep period or whatever it takes, which leads to healthy behaviors. You know what? Instead of sleeping in on Saturday, I'm gonna hit the gym. Instead of going straight home after school, I'm gonna take my dog on a walk down a trail. Instead of shutting down social media, I'm going to write a blog to help people to be kind, okay? Healthy behaviors, which leads to positive outcomes. She continues to love her career teaching. Her students love her. She becomes a great teacher. And so this is playing out. And I think these 4 needs that we looked at, appreciation, respect, encouragement, and support, as I've seen in my travels and as you saw in the data, they're the top 4 needs of your staff on your campus right now. It doesn't mean the other 6 needs are not important, right? But I've seen time and time again that these 4 needs are so important. So if there's anything that we can do to help support you, I've mentioned that we do these trainings on campus. They can last anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. We can do kind of a part 1. We can always come back and do a part 2 on conflict resolution as well. But you can feel free to reach out to us. We do have a book available as well, Building Campus Relationships from the Inside Out. It goes deep into this relational needs model, talks about the value of it on campus and how it's just a great value in life. I've seen as a counselor, I've seen as a speaker, as a trainer, that these relational needs, these 10 needs that we teach in this book, they're game changers. They shift relationships, they shift lives. And what I love about them is they're so simple. They are so simple. We are not teaching rocket science, but if we can just do these things, everything changes. They are the building blocks to what makes a healthy relationship. They're the building blocks. And relationships are the building blocks, I'll say it again, the secret sauce, the pixie dust that makes school culture come together. So I hope this was valuable for you. You can see our information here at teentruth.net. You can reach out to me directly. We're here to support you in any way that we can. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you right now. You take care. You have a great day.